Hey guys, how y'all doing? Just a quick little note is that I'm still learning things, trying to figure out where to put the microphone, where to set the camera, so I apologize for that. I'll soon have it fixed, but either way, let's just get straight to the video. Hope you guys enjoy. Alright, we are on. What's up, my beautiful people? Welcome to my first motovlog. Today we are on the 2024 Kawasaki Ninja650. Today is just kind of a test. I'm just gonna ride around my local town, kind of go around and show y'all a little bit, and then just go around and cruise while I talk to y'all. Very excited to do this. I've been waiting to do this for a long time, waiting for stuff to come in to get everything to work right. This is my bike. I will tell y'all a little bit more about her while I'm on the bike ride. Man, she is dirty. Look at this. I was coming home last night on the bike and it was like super late and it was a long trip, and so there was nothing but just bugs everywhere all over this bike. Man, this is also my first bike. Only thing I've done to it so far is put an exhaust on it. I've done the fender eliminator, and I have frame sliders, but I have not put them on yet. That video is soon to come. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Just gonna be my first motovlog. Try it out. Love the view here. Got a little lake going on in the background. With that being said, let's get this going on the road. Put the phone back up in there. Get the gloves on. Turn it on and let y'all hear it. Man, it is one thing, is I'm such a big fan of like 4 cylinders. And so having a 2-cylinder kind of sucks for me, because I love the way that the 4-cylinders sound over the 2 cylinders. But I didn't want to go and hop on a Super Sport as my first motorcycle because, well, that would have got me in trouble and potentially a lot more dangerous, you know what I mean? But going on the road on this hill, so now we gotta come off the clutch real easy. But yeah, like I said, man, it's also like really windy today, so a lot of this is, I'm probably gonna have my visor down. Sorry about that, but either way. But yeah, like I said, this was my first bike, so I didn't want to hop on a 600 or a 1000 especially and expect it to like be easy to learn on, because it really wasn't. Like, this bike is super, honestly it's actually not even super light, but it's lighter than a Super Sport. And with this being my first bike, I have already dropped it 3 times. Now mind you, after the 3rd time there was no more dropping it. I had a meeting with myself basically, and I was like, man, you can't be doing this, because man, it was funny. I dropped it the day I bought it, the day after I bought it, and then like 2 weeks later I dropped it again. But the 3rd time I dropped it was the worst time. The first time, it was the day I bought it, and it was like, I kid you not, like 2 hours after I bought it, I got it home, and then it was sitting up on a hill. And mind you, I had no experience with motorcycles, so my dad actually rode the motorcycle home for me, and then I was just gonna learn with him because he had his own motorcycle. Well, basically, it was sitting up on the hill, and then I decided that I was going to move it for whatever reason. Just because I wanted to get on it. I was super excited. It was my first bike, and so I sat on it, went down the hill. Well, I was thinking in my head, I was like, well, I know when you're on a motorcycle, a lot of it has to do with leaning when you're turning. So I was like, all right, let me do that. Mind you, I'm going down this hill at maybe like 2 miles an hour. But so I leaned, and as soon as I leaned, I came to the stop, and I realized when I came to the stop, instead of the bike being up straight, I was like this. And so basically it was like the Titanic sinking, bro. Like it hurt my heart so bad, man. But I was trying to save it, and when I stopped, it wasn't gonna stop coming down, and it just like slowly, I couldn't lift it, man. But I was trying to keep it up, and then that was kind of scary. And then trying to hold it up, and then I couldn't hold it up, so it was just slowly going down more and down more until it finally got like low enough that I knew that I just needed to let go of it and let it drop. Otherwise it would have, you know, landed on my leg, and that would have sucked. But he didn't even see me. But that was the first time. The second time I dropped the bike, I was learning with my dad, and we went out to a parking lot and we were doing figure eights, and I did good with the figure eights, and then he was like, you seem to be doing good, let's go like around the neighborhood and just like just go right around there. Well, right before we did that, I was like, okay, let me do one more figure eight, and I did it. So it was like, all right, got it. And then came back after we had went around the neighborhood, and he pulled into a parking spot, and I pulled into a parking spot. Well, the problem was I guess when I came to the stop, I had the handlebars turned too far, and I used the front brake, and I guess I put the front brake on, like, you know, a little hard, and so it basically just moved all the momentum like real hard over, and then that sucked. So because that also, it slowly went down also, and then I had my dad's gear on, thankfully, so I just plopped on the ground and did a barrel roll. And man, I was so embarrassed because there was a little kid up the street, and he goes, oh my god, he died, look, he died. And I was like, oh my god, there's no way this little kid's like flaming me right now, bro. So I got back up and sat the bike back up, and then that was pretty much it. I went home from that, man. I was disappointed. I had a near experience too. I was cruising with my dad again, and then came to a stop sign, and I was like holding, like, if you look at my hand, I was like riding like that. See, you see that already? I was already twisting the throttle, but I was riding, and then I came to the stop, had my fingers on the front brake, went to go take off, but I still had my pressure applied to the brake. So basically I went to go, and it was just like like it was, but like real aggressive, because you're coming off from a stop. I don't think it hopped, but it like super close to hopped. And for a guy that's been on a motorcycle for nothing, like I had no experience, that was definitely scary. And I couldn't stop, like I was panicking, and I was like, what do I do? And it just kept getting worse, and it was like, it was like it was funny, it was hilarious, man. But I mean, it's not when you're in the situation, but now I look back at it and it was funny. But I was going straight, there was a car on the side of the road, and I was going, like, it wasn't driving, like they had it parked, but I was going straight for it, and I was like, man, I'm fixing to hit this car, bro. Well, finally I came to my senses, and I pulled the clutch in, and then just let go of everything. And so I was able to swerve my way and miss the vehicle on the side of the road. And then he pulled over, and he was like, what was that? And I was like, I got scared, and I had the brake and the gas at the same time. So yeah, I was scared, terrified, so I just went home after that. The third time I dropped the bike, man, that was the worst, because at this point I thought I was, you know, I thought I was cool. I thought I knew how to ride a motorcycle, no issues. And I was riding around town, and I was acting a fool. Not like a super like speed over, but I was riding around. When I came to I was coming to a turn, and I was coming in real fast. Next thing you know, I realized I was coming in too fast, you know? And so I was turning, and I was like, oh, I don't think I'm gonna make this. I need to slow down. Well, I panicked, and I didn't even press the brakes. I pulled the clutch in, and my brain was like, well, I'm gonna hit this curb, and just kept going with the clutch pulled in, and no gas, you know, I'm just cruising. So I was like, I knew I was gonna hit it. I should have, like, if it was now, you know, I would have slammed on the brakes, and I would have been okay. But no, man, but yeah, that sucked. I went, and it threw me off the bike, and I ran into the grass, and then I just immediately, oh, voice crack, what the heck? I just immediately got back up, got on the bike, and then I didn't even bother to look at the bike. I knew there was damage. I was like, oh man, I'm just gonna go home. Got on the bike, took off super fast. I was mad. I got home, and then I started looking, and I was like, oh man, oh man, oh man. It was just one thing after another that got scratched, and I was like, oh, well, this is my first bike. I gotta give it time. But that's pretty much it, man. After that night, I told myself, you're gonna learn before you do stupid stuff like that again. Sure enough, like, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that I am an A1 motorcycle rider, but like, I know how to ride. You know, like, I can go fast if I want to, but I'm not gonna sit here and try to go do stupid stuff like wheelies and all that. So that was that. Ever since then, I told myself, like, this is mine. I'm gonna have it for a long time, so treat it like it's a jewel, you know. And I have ever since then. The whole situation sucked. Like, everything that got messed up just sucks, but it didn't, you know, mess the bike up to where it's like not rideable, you know what I mean? So I'd rather take cosmetic damage over mechanical damage all day, as long as it ain't tweaking the frame, you get what I mean? But yeah, those were my experiences being a new rider. I was very excited to get this bike, man. I've only had it for, I want to say 4 months now. It's been a very good bike. I mean, I've already put 3,400 miles on this vehicle, or the bike, whatever. And it's been a very sturdy bike. Like, I haven't had any issues out of it. The only thing, man, is I'm kind of, in all honesty, man, I'm already kind of bored of it. And I wish it was, you know, had more power. But I mean, it's fine that it don't. Like, you don't, I mean, I'm still a learning, you know what I mean? So that's fine that it don't. It gets fast enough, I guess. But man, it's funny too, when I was buying this bike, with it being a 650, I had a buddy that like had like, or has a 600, and I didn't actually even talk to him about it before buying the bike. And I was thinking, I was like, well, if this is a Ninja 650, man, this is gonna be a fast bike. It can beat 600s and all that. Well, that was where I was completely wrong. I thought a 650 was just bigger than a 600 because the number was so bigger. What I didn't know was that the 600s are inline 4s. So I was thinking, well, if it's a 650, it's gonna be super fast. It'll be a great first bike. And it still is fast. And it's still good for a first bike. I'm just saying, it's definitely not up there with the 600s. Now, I will say, if you were gonna race a 650 with a 600, the 650 would win at first, and then you're going to get by the 600. I mean, that's just how it is. Hey man, it's just part of learning, you know. Like, I'm glad I got this bike. It's actually a really comfortable bike for what it is. I wish I could get new gloves though. These are kind of uncomfortable, or they are uncomfortable. After a long time of holding the throttle like this, it's weird. Like, my hand, I don't know if it's like the pressure of sitting like this the whole time or what, but man, it just feels like sore. I don't know how to explain it, but it gets uncomfortable. And I want to get new gloves. I need to get gear, but man, gear's so expensive, so I'm like, I don't even need it, even though I need it. And for anybody that's scared to get on the first motorcycle, don't be, man. You can learn, trust me. It's not as it's like, you gotta have some patience. You're gonna have to learn. You're gonna make mistakes. If you're worried about dropping your bike, put frame sliders on it before you even hop on it. That was where I made my mistake. If I had frame sliders, I promise you, the only thing that would still be messed up is like the wheels from hitting the curb. But other than that, it's okay. Frame sliders will save you. And I wish I would have put them on before, or I wish I would have even bought them before I even hopped on the motorcycle, because I knew I was a newbie. Again, for anybody that's worried about it, just do it, bro. You're gonna love riding if you want to ride a motorcycle, you're gonna love when you are, like, when you finally learn how to get past the learning curve of riding a motorcycle. Is it the same as driving a manual car? Not really, but the concept is the same, you know, because instead of using your foot for the clutch and your foot for the gas, you're using your foot for the brake and the shift on this. You're using your hands for the clutch and your hands for the front brake. So there's a little bit, it's a little bit more confusing, but it's really not much different. I feel like if I can do it, anybody could do it. Let me put it that way, because I'm no expert in any field. That was a nice little ride. It actually went a lot smoother than I thought, just because I didn't get caught at so many red lights and the traffic wasn't acting a fool today. Put it in neutral, put it on the side. It is scary, like getting off like a hill like this, just because the bike could like slide off. I don't know, I just overthink like that. But yeah guys, that was pretty much it for my first motovlog. It was very fun. I did enjoy it a lot. There's definitely more coming, don't get me wrong. Like, this isn't the only one you're gonna see by far. It was really just to kind of explain to you the introduction to my bike. Feel free to comment and ask some questions about, you know, like learning experiences on your motorcycle. If you have questions about riding a motorcycle, any questions about a motorcycle, feel free to ask me. Don't hesitate to ask me, you know what I mean? But with all that being said, I appreciate you guys so much for watching the video, and I'll catch you guys later, and you all have a blessed day.